It had been a while since the last time, but today the emergency alert went out in Ontario for an Amber Alert. And this is a topic that I've discussed in other contexts before. On Facebook, I've written about this a number of times, and every time it's pretty controversial when I do talk about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and head off a couple of things right off the bat here. First of all, yes, I do find the noise annoying. I'm very hypersensitive to sound. I do find it irritating, and I am annoyed when it does wake me up sometimes, and that's annoying. But that's not why I'm criticizing it. That's not why I am calling attention to the problems of the system, because there are problems in the system. If the intent is to solve the Amber Alert, to find the child, to rescue the child, solve the problem that it's having, there are things that could be done better to solve that problem, that could be used to save the child's life if they are in danger. And to be abundantly clear, I am not criticizing the Amber Alert system per se. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be having Amber Alerts, and I certainly don't not care about children. And unfortunately, the reason why these conversations usually get so controversial is that immediately when some people see that someone is criticizing the Amber Alert system, they immediately think that the person that's doing the criticizing doesn't care about children, or doesn't think that we should be doing anything to save children who've been abducted, or something like that. But this is a straw man. This is not what I believe. I absolutely, wholeheartedly, explicitly believe that. Yes, we should be having an Amber Alert system. We should be saving the children, blah, blah, blah. That is not my argument. And yes, I've now said it several times, but it bears repeating because no matter how clear I make it, somehow, still, somebody always criticizes me for that reason. So what am I actually criticizing here? Well, the main problem, the core of the problem, is the overabundance of alerts and alarms and beeps and wails in our lives. We live in a world where we hear beeps hundreds of times per day. You put your coffee in the microwave, God forbid, you turn it on, you hear some beeping noises. You go to the gas station, you pump some gas, every time you press any of the buttons, you hear a beeping noise. For 8 hours today, I was able to hear a lift jack about half a block away going beep, beep, 8 hours straight, for the reason that the lift jack was moving slightly, or it was, going up or down or anything like that. You can hear the lift jack itself. It's making a whir noise of the diesel generator that powers the thing. And even if it's not like moving in any particular dangerous direction, it's still making this beeping noise that's alerting people blocks away that this lift jack is moving. It's, yes, I understand, a safety feature because you do want to be aware when something that's heavy and dangerous is moving near you. But the purpose of that beeping is escaping its own utility. Because yes, you want to make sure that a driver or a pedestrian that's in the vicinity, immediate vicinity, that is in danger of being hit by this thing is definitely going to hear it. So it needs to be able to alert somebody who's like half deaf, wearing headphones and blinders and a hoodie, make sure that they are completely aware of this thing. But that's a non-trivially difficult task to also not warn the entire neighborhood of that same thing. There are ways of doing that. You can employ flashing lights. You can employ a speaker system that doesn't necessarily project quite as far. You could use a tone, a particular type of sound that doesn't project halfway across the neighborhood, etc., etc. And everybody's lives would be improved because, yes, it would be more effective at alerting the people that needed to be alerted, and the people who didn't need to be alerted wouldn't be alerted. But why is this important? Why is it important that it's not broadcast widely? Well, yes, because I was irritated by it for 8 hours today and 8 hours yesterday and 8 hours all week. But more importantly, because if you're constantly being alerted of something, if you're being warned by beeps and alarms and bells and whatnot all the time, you don't know what's important anymore. It's hard to tell when I'm actually in danger of this lift jack or if it's just being annoying. So say, for example, if I was standing next to this lift jack, like if I either lived in the immediate vicinity of the lift jack or I was working nearby as one of the laborers on the building where the lift jack is being used, and that thing is just beeping all the time, I'm going to tune it out. Because nobody can pay attention to something that loud and that annoying, pay attention to it for very long. Very quickly, your brain is going to like start filtering that out because if that's all you're able to pay attention to, you can't pay attention to anything else. You can't get your work done. You can't go through your day. So if I'm actually in danger of the thing, but my brain has tuned out this noise, I'm not being warned of anything. I'm actually in extreme danger because, oh, it's just part of the background noise. Beep, beep. And suddenly I get run over by a lift jack. Hopefully you can catch the connection to the topic of conversation here, where these alerts that show up on our cell phones, well, they're very loud, they're very annoying, and they all sound the same. Whether it's an Amber Alert or whether it's like, holy shit, there's a tornado bearing down you at this moment, get to the basement immediately, or like there might be a problem at the nuclear power station half a province away, which actually happened a couple of years ago, or any number of other things. The system does have in place different levels of priority, one for Amber Alerts, one for like urgent alerts, one for extremely urgent alerts. But Ontario, the province in which I live, has only implemented that all alerts, no matter what kind of alert, goes to the extreme alert level. So you can't turn off any alert without turning out all alerts. And yes, like I'm not the type of person that would turn off these alerts because I do want to be informed if there's a tornado barreling down on me. I even, yes, want to know if there's an Amber Alert in my area that I could help to resolve. Today's Amber Alert, yeah, I theoretically that could have been relevant to me. So that is a valid use of this system. But had it be sent on the Amber Alert channel rather than the Extreme Emergency channel, the noise might not have been so jarring. And yeah, I mean, that's just a minor personal concern. I could easily excuse that and ignore it. But some people are not so lucky. Like, if you're driving or doing something delicate and suddenly that goes off, that could be legitimately dangerous. Like, I've been startled to the point of jumping when this thing has gone off unexpectedly before. And I have a relatively low startle reflex. I can only imagine what it would be like for one of my former partners who had an extremely jumpy response. Like, it's not human compatible technology at the very least. And so why is this important? Why is this a concern? Well, because if people are so irritated by this thing that they want to turn it off and they are going to go to the lengths in order to disable this thing, then the alert is ineffective. They're not actually hearing that alert, so they can't help to assist the child if they're in a situation where they could theoretically assist the child. And not only that, if it ends up being an actual like life-threatening emergency to you personally at this exact moment, somebody who's so afflicted by this having tuned it out is not going to be alerted of that either. They won't know that a tornado is barreling down on them at this exact moment because they'll just go, oh, it's another alert. It's probably an Amber Alert for something that is half a province away. Even if they don't care about the Amber Alert, they're also not going to be able to care about the tornado. Now, I can just hear people typing in the comments, don't you care about the children? You need to be able to be informed. You need to be alerted so that everybody can hear it. But there are other ways of doing that. There are better ways of doing that. The alert could be a little less piercing. It could say like, hey, Amber Alert. So that if you happen to be near your phone or near the radio, near the TV, whatever, you are informed of this thing, but you're not scared of this thing. Because already we live in a very scary world. There is this constant state of heightened anxiety that we're exposed to 24 hours a day. If you turn on the news, it's all risk, danger, blah, blah, blah. That it paralyzes us to be able to perceive things clearly. And it's a mode of social control. It's a way of keeping it so that we are not acting independently as individuals because we're scared that if we make the wrong decision, we might come into danger. So we shouldn't be amplifying that. We should not be exposing ourselves willingly as a society to scary influences unnecessarily. We should be, yes, informed. We should be able to assist one another as a community when there is a child that's in distress, and we should be well informed when there is something that is dangerous to us? Absolutely. This is why these alert systems through the cell network are such a great invention, such a great idea. But if they're not used properly, if they're not used effectively, they can actually be worse than not having any notification at all. Anyway, I make these videos daily, and if you enjoy this content, algorithmic stuff, I received a number of responses to yesterday's video asking for content input into where I'm going next, what I'm going to do with this channel. A lot of it's very useful, and I think that I am going to become a bit more focused in certain things. So I'm going to continue to do brief daily content, and I'm going to try and keep it under 10 minutes. I have failed today. Oops. But then also a couple of times a week, I'm going to do something more scripted, one more conceptual and one more scripted, and a deep dive into a topic of some sort, as well as having some conversational content, have an interview or a guest discussion, panel discussion, that kind of thing. So if you want to participate in a panel discussion or something like that, let me know, and let me know what topics you might be interested in talking about, because I'd love to meet some new people and talk with them. And if you have any other comments, feedback of any kind, let me know that too, because I'd like this to be viewer-driven material. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for being charitable in your interpretation of what I'm saying. Please try not to jump down my throat. And I'll see you tomorrow.